Do you, David, take Emma to be your lawfully wedded wife? I do. The words came out stronger than I'd expected, filled with 3 years of certainty. And do you, Emma, take David to be your lawfully wedded husband? I do. Her voice was perfect, musical, everything I'd dreamed of hearing. I slipped the ring onto her finger, my hands surprisingly steady. With this ring, I thee wed. Emma's eyes sparkled as she repeated the words back to me. With this ring, I thee wed. You may kiss the bride. I kissed her like it was the first time, like it was the last time, like it was the only time that mattered. The church erupted in applause, but all I could hear was my own heartbeat. We did it, Emma whispered against my lips. We're married. We're married, I repeated, still not quite believing it. Later, at the reception, my best man Jake raised his glass. To David and Emma, may your love story never end. Never end, the crowd echoed. Emma squeezed my hand under the table. I love you, husband. I love you too, wife. The next morning, we were on a plane to Santorini. I'd saved for 8 months to afford this trip. I can't believe we're going to Greece, Emma said, scrolling through her phone. This is like a dream. You deserve everything beautiful in this world, I told her, meaning every word. Our first night in Santorini was everything I'd imagined. We had dinner on a terrace overlooking the caldera, the sunset painting everything golden. This is perfect, Emma sighed, taking a photo of her wine glass. Absolutely perfect. You're perfect, I said. She smiled, but her phone buzzed. She glanced at it quickly. Sorry, work emergency. You know how it is. On our honeymoon? I'll just send a quick reply. 5 minutes, I promise. But it wasn't 5 minutes. It was 20. And when she came back to the table, something felt different. Everything okay? I asked. Of course. Sorry about that. Crisis averted. She raised her glass. To us. To us. But I noticed how she kept her phone face down the rest of dinner. I noticed how she checked it every few minutes when she thought I wasn't looking. I told myself I was being paranoid. This was supposed to be the happiest time of our lives. I woke up early on our 3rd morning, excited to surprise Emma with breakfast in bed. The local bakery opened at 6, and I wanted to get those almond pastries she'd admired yesterday. But when I reached for her, the bed was empty. Emma? I called softly. No answer. Then I heard her voice from the balcony, a whisper, urgent and intimate. I miss you too, baby. I wish you were here instead of him. My blood turned to ice. Just 2 more days, and I'll be back in your arms. I can't wait to feel you again. I stood frozen in the doorway, my heart hammering so loud I was sure she'd hear it. I have to go. He's probably waking up. I love you. She turned and saw me. Her face went white for a split second before she forced a smile. Oh, good morning, honey. You scared me. Who was that? My voice sounded strange, distant. My sister. You remember I told you about her boyfriend troubles? She's having a really hard time. At 6 in the morning? Time zones, you know. She's in California, couldn't sleep. Poor thing. I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her. Is she okay? She will be. Come here. Emma pulled me into a hug. I'm sorry you had to hear that drama. I didn't want it to ruin our honeymoon. It's fine. Family comes first. But it wasn't fine. Nothing was fine. I kept hearing those words. I wish you were here instead of him. At breakfast, I couldn't concentrate. Emma chattered about our plans for the day, but her words felt hollow. You're quiet, she observed, buttering her toast. Everything all right? Just thinking about your sister. What's going on with her boyfriend? Emma's hand stilled for just a moment. Oh, you know, same old story. He's pulling away. She's desperate to hold on to him. I keep telling her she deserves better. What's his name again? Who? Your sister's boyfriend. Mike. Michael. She laughed nervously. Sorry, I'm terrible with names. You know that. I did know that. Emma had introduced me to her coworker as Dave 3 times before remembering my actual name. But something about this felt different. Maybe you should call her back later. Make sure she's okay. I will. But right now, I want to focus on us. She reached across the table and took my hand. This is our honeymoon, David. Our time. Her touch felt cold. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling while Emma slept peacefully beside me. I kept replaying the morning, trying to make sense of what I'd heard. Maybe I'd misunderstood. Maybe it really was her sister. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. I just wasn't ready to admit it yet. The next morning, Emma announced she needed a long shower to wash her hair. Take your time, I said. I'll order room service. The moment I heard the water running, I did something I never thought I'd do. I picked up her phone. Her lock screen showed 3 missed messages from Marcus' work. I knew all of Emma's coworkers. There was no Marcus. My hands shook as I entered her passcode, our anniversary date. The messages made me sick. Can't wait until this charade is over. Playing the happy bride is exhausting. He's so clueless. Actually bought the sister story. Sometimes I wonder how I kept this up for so long. I scrolled up through months of messages, photos, plans, intimate details about their relationship that made me want to vomit. Good morning, husband. Emma emerged from the bathroom, towel wrapped around her hair. I looked up from her phone, and for a moment we just stared at each other. Then I quickly set it down. Your phone was buzzing. Thought it might be important. Thanks. She picked it up casually. If she noticed I'd moved it, she didn't say anything. So, what's the plan today? I asked, my voice sounding normal somehow. I was thinking we could explore Oya, take some photos for Instagram. Sounds perfect. But nothing was perfect. I spent breakfast studying her face, looking for any sign of guilt or remorse. There was none. Emma was a flawless actress, laughing at my jokes, holding my hand, talking about our future. I can't wait to start trying for kids, she said, cutting her omelet. I think I want 3. What do you think? 3 sounds good. And we should start looking at bigger apartments when we get back, something with a home office for you. I nodded, but all I could think about was that draft email I'd found. The one where she told Marcus that marrying me was the practical choice because I was stable and reliable, but that he was her true love. You're being quiet again, Emma observed. Just tired, all this sun and wine. Poor baby. She reached over and stroked my cheek. We can take a nap later. Her touch made my skin crawl. Actually, I think I'll go for a walk. Clear my head. Want company? No, it's okay. You relax. I walked to the hotel's business center and spent 2 hours digging deeper into Emma's digital life. Social media posts, emails, everything I could access. Each discovery was worse than the last. By the time I returned to our room, I knew the truth. My marriage was a lie. My wife was in love with another man, and I had to decide what to do about it. Did you have a nice walk? Emma asked when I returned. Very nice. Lots to think about. Well, stop thinking and come kiss me. I kissed her, tasting the lie on her lips. That night, while Emma slept, I returned to the business center. I had Marcus's full name now, his Instagram, his LinkedIn. He was everything I wasn't. Tall, conventionally handsome, successful in finance. His profile was full of photos with Emma, carefully cropped to hide her face. I screenshot everything, my heart breaking with each piece of evidence. A hotel receipt from 6 months ago. The same weekend, Emma told me she was at a work retreat. Restaurant photos from places I recognized, places Emma claimed she'd been with colleagues. And then I found the email that destroyed me completely. A draft from the night before our wedding. Marcus, tomorrow I marry him, but my heart belongs to you. This is just temporary, just until I figure out the logistics. I love you, only you. I sat in that tiny business center, surrounded by the quiet hum of computers, feeling like my entire world was collapsing. An elderly man at the next computer looked over. Working late? Something like that. Honeymoon? Yeah. Ah, young love, enjoy it while it lasts, son. If only he knew. I printed everything and returned to our room. Emma was exactly where I'd left her, sleeping peacefully, looking like an angel. It was almost cruel how beautiful she was. I lay down beside her, this stranger I'd married, and started planning my next move. Good morning, beautiful, I said when Emma woke up. Good morning. She stretched like a cat. Sleep well? Like a baby. The lie came surprisingly easily. I was thinking we could do something special today. Maybe visit that church we saw in the brochure? Emma looked genuinely surprised. Really? You want to go sightseeing? Why not? We're here to get. Her might as well make the most of it. That sounds wonderful, honey. At breakfast, I decided to test her. You know, I was thinking about how lucky we are, I said, reaching for her hand. I mean, what are the odds that two people could love each other this completely? Emma's eyes flickered, just for a second, before she smiled brilliantly. I know exactly what you mean, she said. I can't imagine my life without you. The words rolled off her tongue like honey. I wondered if she used the same tone with Marcus. Sometimes I wonder what I did to deserve you, I continued. Don't be silly, we deserve each other. We spent the day playing tourists. Emma was radiant, posing for photos, laughing at my jokes. To anyone watching, we looked like the perfect newlyweds. At a cafe in Oya, I watched an elderly couple sharing gelato. They'd probably been together for decades, built something real on trust and honesty, everything I thought I had. Take a picture of us, Emma said, handing me her phone. I took the photo, watching her pose with practiced perfection. These pictures would go on social media, proof of our happiness for friends and family back home. Beautiful, I said, handing back her phone. We are, aren't we? She leaned against me. I'm so happy, David. So incredibly happy. I looked into her eyes, searching for any trace of the woman I'd fallen in love with, but all I saw was a stranger wearing my wife's face. That night, as Emma slept beside me, I made my final decision. I wouldn't confront her here. I would wait, plan, and make sure the truth came out in a way that mattered. The performance was over. It was time for the real show to begin. The flight home felt endless. Emma dozed against my shoulder, looking peaceful and innocent. I stared out the window, wondering if this would be our last trip together. Ladies and gentlemen, we're beginning our descent into Los Angeles. Emma stirred. Are we home already? Almost. Her phone buzzed with messages the moment we landed. I watched her face light up in a way it hadn't for me in months. Work stuff, she said automatically. Of course. At baggage claim, I noticed a man watching us from across the carousel. Tall, dark hair, expensive suit. It was Marcus, actually there, probably waiting to see Emma. Our eyes met briefly. He knew who I was. I could see it in his expression, a mixture of curiosity and something like pity. Emma didn't notice him, too busy checking her reflection in her phone camera. I look terrible after that flight, she complained. You look beautiful, I said, meaning it. It was almost cruel how lovely she was. Our families were waiting in the arrivals area, excited to welcome us home. How was Greece? My mother asked, hugging me tight. It was perfect, wasn't it, honey? Emma said, showing off her tan. Perfect, I agreed. My mother squeezed my arm. You look tired, sweetheart. Married life exhausting you already? Something like that. Later, at our apartment, Emma immediately headed for the shower. I need to wash off 12 hours of airplane, she said. I sat on our bed, looking around the room that suddenly felt like a stranger's home. Wedding photos on the dresser, clothes in shared closets, a life built on lies. Emma's phone buzzed on the nightstand. I made a decision that would have seemed impossible a week ago. I answered it. Emma's phone. Silence. Then, who is this? Her husband. Who is this? He hung up immediately. Emma emerged from the bathroom, hair wrapped in a towel. Who called? She asked, scared casually. Wrong number. She picked up her phone, checking for missed calls. Must have been important. They usually don't call back after a wrong number. Maybe they were confused. Maybe. That night, I lay awake listening to Emma sleep, planning my next moves. I thought about our wedding photos, our family's excitement about grandchildren and anniversaries to come. All of it built on lies. But it wasn't just my life that would be destroyed when the truth came out. Every morning became the same routine. Emma would kiss me goodbye, claim she was going to work, and I knew she was going to him. I hired a private investigator named Janet Morrison. Her office was small but professional, filled with certificates and commendations. Honey, you're not the first man to sit in that chair, she said kindly when I explained the situation. And you won't be the last. The question is, What do you want to do with the information once we have it? I want the truth, all of it. The truth can be expensive and painful. More painful than living a lie? Janet studied me for a moment. Fair point. Give me 2 weeks. She was thorough. Photos, financial records, phone logs, timeline documentation. Emma and Marcus had been planning this for months, joking about the wedding in their messages. They called it the David Show, Janet said, handing me a thick folder. Made bets about whether you'd cry during your vows. I had cried, tears of joy that now felt like a cruel joke. There's more. Marcus is married too. Wife named Sarah, 2 young kids. Jesus. His betrayal is even messier than your wife's. You're not the only victim here. That evening, Emma came home late again. Sorry, honey. Crazy day at the office. She kissed my cheek, and I smelled cologne that wasn't mine. How was your day? She asked, the same question she'd asked every day 3 years. Fine, quiet. Good. I'm exhausted. Mind if I just heat up some leftovers? Of course not. I watched her move around our kitchen, humming softly, playing the role of devoted wife. She had no idea that her entire double life was now documented in black and white. The folder sat in my desk drawer like a loaded gun. All I had to do was pull the trigger. I chose our 2-month wedding anniversary for the confrontation. Emma had planned a romantic dinner at home, probably feeling guilty about her recent overtime. I thought we could celebrate, she said, lighting candles on our dining table. Just the 2 of us. That sounds perfect. She'd cooked my favorite meal, beef Wellington with roasted vegetables. Everything looked beautiful, elegant, like a scene from a magazine. I'm so happy, Emma said, raising her wine glass. Here's to many more years of happiness together. I raised my glass but didn't drink. Instead, I pulled out Janet's folder. Before we toast to our future, I said calmly, I think we should talk about your present. Emma's face went white as I spread the photos across our dining table. Pictures of her and Marcus kissing, entering hotels, holding hands in restaurants. Her wine glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the floor. David, I can explain. No more lies, Emma. I know everything. The phone calls, the hotels, the messages where you called our wedding a charade. I watched her cycle through emotions. Shock, fear, anger, calculation, already trying to figure out how to minimize the damage. It's not what you think, she said desperately. Marcus means nothing to me. You're my husband. Stop. My voice was firm, controlled. I've heard enough lies to last a lifetime. What I need to know is why. Was any of it real? Did you ever love me? Emma started crying, but even her tears felt manipulative now. Of course I loved you. I still do. Oh, this thing with Marcus, it just happened. 8 months ago. It started 8 months ago, Emma, before our engagement. The truth hung between us like a physical presence. I'm filing for divorce, I said quietly. And Emma, I'm not going to stay silent about this. Everyone who celebrated our wedding deserves to know who you really are. Her tears stopped instantly, replaced by cold fury. You wouldn't dare. Think about our families, our reputations. I thought about all of that, just like you thought about it when you decided to cheat on me during our honeymoon. I picked up the photos and walked toward the door. You have until tomorrow to tell your family the truth. After that, I tell mine. Emma didn't tell her family, so I did. Mrs. Chen, this is David. I need to tell you something about Emma and me. Her mother cried on the phone, apologizing over and over. We raised her better than this, she kept saying. I'm so sorry, David. You deserved so much better. I know you did your best. This isn't your fault. The hardest call was to my own parents. Son, my father's voice was concerned. What's wrong? I explained everything calmly, factually. When I finished, there was a long silence. I'm proud of you, he finally said. It takes real strength to walk away from someone you love when they don't deserve you. I also called Sarah, Marcus's wife. She deserved to know. Hello? Is this Sarah Morrison? Yes, who is this? My name is David Chen. I need to tell you something about your husband. The conversation was heartbreaking. She'd suspected, but had been too afraid to dig deeper. Thank you for telling me, she whispered through tears. I have 2 children to think about. I needed to know. Within days, the news spread through our social circles. Emma tried to control the narrative, but the evidence spoke louder than her lies. Marcus's life unraveled quickly. Sarah filed for divorce and full custody. His job became impossible when word spread about his character. Emma found herself isolated, her reputation in ruins, her relationship with Marcus poisoned by the chaos they'd created. I moved out of our apartment and into a small place across town. For the first time in months, I could breathe. The pain was still there, sharp and constant, but it was honest pain now. No more lies, no more deception, just the clean ache of loss and the slow process of healing. 6 months later, I ran into Emma at a coffee shop downtown. She looked tired, older somehow. When our eyes met, I felt nothing but pity. "David," she said softly, approaching my table. "How are you?" "I'm good, Emma. Really good." The sharp edges of my anger had worn smooth, leaving only quiet sadness for what might have been. "May I?" She gestured to the empty chair. I nodded. She sat down carefully, wrapping her hands around her coffee cup. "I know you probably don't want to hear this," she began, "but I need to tell you that I'm sorry. What I did was unforgivable." I studied her face, looking for traces of the woman I'd fallen in love with years ago. "Are you really sorry, Emma? Or are you sorry you got caught?" She was quiet for a long time, considering the question honestly for perhaps the first time in our entire relationship. "Both," she finally admitted. "I'm sorry I hurt you, and I'm sorry I destroyed my life for something that wasn't even real." Marcus had abandoned her the moment the scandal broke, claiming she was too much drama. The man she'd sacrificed everything for had proven exactly as selfish as his actions suggested. "I don't expect forgiveness," she continued. "I just wanted you to know that losing you was the biggest mistake of my life." I nodded, understanding that this conversation was necessary for both of us. "Emma, I forgave you months ago," I said quietly. "Not because you deserved it, but because holding on to anger was poisoning my own future." As I walked away from that coffee shop, I felt the last chapter of our story close behind me. That evening, I had dinner with Claire, a woman I'd met through friends who appreciated honesty above all else. We talked about books, travel, dreams for the future. When she smiled, it reached her eyes completely, with no shadows of deception hiding behind it. For the first time in over a year, I felt genuinely hopeful about love again,